Okay, so the New York Rangers just lost in the first round, and man, this team is kind of screwed. Not screwed in the sense that this is the last time this core will be in the playoffs, but in the sense that they're stuck where they are right now due to a rushed rebuild. For those of you guys unaware, they started their rebuild in 2017 after a second round loss, essentially kicking off the rebuild by trading Derek Stepan for the 7th overall pick. And the rebuild started off really good. They had 5 first-round picks in the first 2 drafts. And on April 9th, 2019, they jumped from 6th to 2nd overall, which was massive for the rebuild, guaranteeing them Kaapo Kakko, who was deemed a future superstar at the time. And on the heels of this massive lottery victory, as well as the 5 former first-round picks, GM Jeff Gordon decided it was time to pull the trigger and end the rebuild after just 2 seasons. Because although Gordon had not seen any of those prospects play in the NHL, he probably assumed that out of those 6 first-round picks, he'd get 1 superstar in Kakko, 2 very good players, 2 decent players, and maybe 1 bust. And with that in mind, he decided to trade the 20th overall pick in Neil Pionk for Jacob Trouba. And before Trouba even played a single game for the Rangers, he was given an 8-year, $8 million per contract, but we'll get back to that. Then Gordon would double down, signing the biggest fish on the market, getting Artemi Panarin on the 2nd highest paid deal in the entire league. With the young core in place and the new additions, the Rangers would improve the next 3 seasons and of course won the 2020 draft lottery, getting them Laugh and Fox falling into their lap because he demanded to be there. But there was one big problem, especially the last 2 seasons, and that was that the young guys were not developing and contributing at a high level. Kravtsov and Anderson were utter busts. They're already off the team. Miller and Hedel are both very good role players, but not stars by any means. And of course, the former 1st and 2nd overall picks that you expected to be superstars are still 3rd line players at this point, and I'll be shocked if they even turn into good first liners. So with this lack of elite young talent, where does this leave them right now? They're no doubt top 4 forwards heading into next season are not any of the young guys, and instead Panarin, Kreider, Mika, and Trocheck, who are all quite old between the ages of 29 to 32, making a combined $32 million for the next 3 seasons at least. And speaking of kind of old overpaid guys, Trouba is 29 and still making $8 million for the next 3 years. So a lot of their impact guys are soon to regress, and the young guys do not seem able to take that next step to replace them. Like, if 32-year-old Chris Kreider falls off by a decent margin next year, do you think Kaapo Kakko will replace his production? Because I honestly don't. And in terms of a prospect pool to improve your team, because they rushed this rebuild, they no longer have an elite one. It's a pretty below average one. So now the Rangers have little cap space to improve their team, as well as no young guys to bring up because they rushed this rebuild. It's not a good recipe for success. And for the Rangers in their own division, the Devils and the Canes are both younger and just straight up better right now, as well as other young teams in the Eastern Conference like the Sabres, Sens, or Wings that are set to take massive jumps soon. In hindsight, it is obvious now that the Rangers shouldn't have done the Panarin and Trouba deals and instead waited to see what they had in their prospects, develop them properly, and once they were good enough, then to go all in. But they didn't, and now they sit in this weird spot of a good but not great actual contender that can't improve that much and is just going to be on a slow decline until they have to rebuild.